Now is your time to flame.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the 13th floor where the furniture isn't always the best, but the views are amazing. I am your moderator, B. Jones, and I got my familiar faces back on here this week. We got your boy T.I. in the corner. What's up, J Dace?
Hey, what's going on, man? How we living, y'all?
We living real 305 fancy over here. We got some canes over here all around,
whoosh,
man.
Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh.
There it is. BJ, what's happening?
Everything's good, baby. It's a college football season is back in full force, and it was a great weekend to watch some, man.
It was, man. We beat them Wildcats, I think it was, down this week, 41-3.
Yes, sir. 41-13.
41-13. It's good tune-up. Good
Dang,
tune-up. That's how you...
Give him some. You know what
I ain't giving them nothing.
Oh, no. They
No,
did
not at all.
not 10
Moving
at all.
right along.
Hey, the band got a W.
They can have it. They
go.
can have it all day. All right, what's happening, baby? I'm sorry. We missed the memo, man. We should have caned out, but
Yeah, totally missed it. What's going on, everybody? I have no song this week from a TV show.
Hold on, cut the tape.
This was a long week. I would love to give you guys some TV cartoon sounds from my son, but I'm gonna spare you all of that. So enjoy the show. Thank you for watching.
And man, that's good history, though, man. I have a few listeners that have told me they do enjoy that segment. I've always been one to wonder when we were going to run out of those shows.
Oh, I didn't run out. I just didn't
I ain't
have a
saying you
chance
did.
to-
I'm just wondering how long it can last, though. But that's easy.
Oh,
DJ, Barry B. Fresh, what's going on?
Since Art dropped the ball this football intro, I feel it's only right that I go ahead and pick up the slack, take this thing to the house and score this touchdown with it's a classic. A lot of people love it. I feel that true legends love the song, but it goes a little something like this. You like to hear it go. It's great to be a Miami Hurricane. It's great to be a Miami Hurricane. Yeah, man, with all kind of crazy.
Why did we drag? I mean, I was hold on. It was that my was real long.
I'm glad it wasn't just me, because I was like, well, maybe they did it way back. That's how they did it back in the day.
No, because as, as a coordinator, and Diddy and I both were OCs, and I expect you to hit that a lot better than that.
It's great to be a
Miami
Hurricane.
The Hurricane drag, not the Miami.
I really thought that you were gonna come with the move something, since you had on the jacket that Too Loud. Move something.
Put that Fresh Kid Ice on.
That was a great. Rest in peace, Fresh Kid Ice. He died a few weeks ago.
Oh man.
Rest in peace, Fresh Kid Ice. Coach K, what's happening, bro?
What's going on, man? I've been talking in everybody else's intro, so I'm here, man. I was kind of flat last week, I had some coffee, so I'm ready to go.
Got his cold brew, kind of.
Yeah,
sort of.
kind of. Yes.
Half cold, but still bold.
But still bold.
Easy. Well, welcome everybody to the 13th floor, man. We want to kick off this show how we ended the last one. Last week we sent out our prayers, condolences, thoughts to those who were dealing with the aftermath of Hurricane Harvey. This week we want to do the same thing. We have offered ways that you can get involved from our Facebook pages, but also we mentioned last week to do your research. I did a little research over that time period, went to the npr.org site. They offered a lot of different resources on the site. All you got to do is go to npr.org, search Harvey Relief, and they'll give you a plethora of different organizations in all different facets on how you can get involved and contribute. But they also give you the option to do the research on your own on these organizations, since they aren't endorsing one specific one. CharityNavigator.org is the resource for you to do that type of research, so you can see which program or which organization you want to get involved with. But some of them that are still doing work right now, Greater Houston Community Foundation, excuse me, that's the one started by the mayor of Houston. You got Global Giving, which is one of the largest global crowdfunding organizations. They're looking to raise $2 million for the Harvey Relief, and then your United Way of Houston. So those are just 3 quick ways you can get involved and get active with the Hurricane Harvey Relief. Also, though, we want to recognize that today is Labor Day, and myself, not knowing anything other than barbecues and cookouts ever since I was a shorty, or it being that extra day before you go back to school, or you already started school, and this is your extra weekend off. But real quick, man, it's a lot more history behind Labor Day than I was actually aware of, and I came across this just today. So the way it kind of started was this strike. Way back in the 1800s, 1894. It's called the Pullman strike. And basically what happened, the workers weren't, getting their just due, so they decided to strike or whatever. However, black workers in this business, they weren't allowed to be a part of the strike. So when it was over, we didn't really reap the benefits of anything or of that nature. But come to find out, we have been very involved with labor unions well before this strike. Some history goes back to 1838, showing how us as workers in the labor unions or whatnot, we're organizing ourselves to be able to, work and reap the benefits that we were just due. Isaac Myers is a name that came up. Now, he was a ship caulker here in Baltimore, born a free slave in 1835. He started building ships basically at the age of 16. Right? In the late 1850s, white ship caulkers, they went on the strike because at that point in time, the black ship caulkers had become so organized and created their union that they were actually being paid more than some of their white counterparts due to the collective bargaining agreements that they had with the different shipyards in the area. So the white workers, they ended up striking. And of course, we reaped the, I guess, we were taken out of the workforce. Basically 1,000 black workers, ship caulkers, lost their jobs, including Isaac Myers. However, the resiliency in this story and why I feel like it's so important to tell, being an untold story within our community, is that they didn't just let it die there. So Isaac Myers and his other, they formed a co-op, basically in Baltimore, ship caulking, where they leased the docks. They formed two companies, Chesapeake Marine Railway and the Dry Dock Company, and they ran it for 20 years successfully before they got out of it. So really, really big as far as our influence in the labor market, as well as after they were finished with that, they were able to start one of the first national black labor unions, the Colored National Labor Union, and in which Isaac Myers was the president, first president in 1869. Frederick Douglass was the second president in 1872. Really important, our influence within the labor community. They were able, although that union didn't last for but 4 or 5 years, they were able to start the conversation about blacks being involved in the white labor unions and start to get that equal treatment. So just a little tidbit, Black history for all of our listeners out there, something that kind of goes unnoticed, but yes, it shows our influence within the labor market and Labor Day as a whole.
Wow. Yeah, that's a
yeah. So I've been working.
No, yeah, for sure.
Hey,
No, that's what's up.
One of the other things that you mentioned was the Pullman strike, which the Pullman porters, of which many of them were black males.
Right.
A lot of them were amongst the first black millionaires in the country because obviously you couldn't talk, you couldn't speak because all of the passengers were white passengers, but they listened to all the conversations, especially those that involved economy and things like that, and they invested their money together, and they ended up becoming some of the first black millionaires in the country.
Wow.
See, like that wise old owl, man. The more you listen, the more you learn, man. Exactly. That's good, man. So let's go around the table, man. We got this weekend roundup. I think me and Jay the only ones really participating because, you got the senior citizens out here just chilling and enjoying the family or whatever.
Yeah, man.
But Jay, you went to the Stay Ready conference here in DC this weekend, man. How was it?
Oh man, it was my word, man. It was phenomenal. And phenomenal.
What was the takeaways?
A couple of takeaways. All right. One takeaway, since we're talking about millionaires, only 1% of millionaires are actually 35 or younger, right? So with that, I think it was David Shands that he asked that question, like, how many of y'all are 30 or under 35? And like actually not so many people that raised their hand. And he was like, yo, you guys literally just haven't been alive long enough to figure it out. And that really hit me because it's like, yo, some people are so focused on, I'm not there yet, right? But sometimes you just haven't lived long enough. You know what I mean? Sometimes you just haven't went through enough things in order to get to where you want to be. So that hit me like, it really spoke life into me. And another thing E.T. actually said was the natural and the unnatural man, right? So the natural man does what comes easy, does what comes natural, but the unnatural man is always looking for that next challenge. How can he grow as an individual? And then that really hit me too, because it's easy to do what comes easy, but to step outside that comfort zone and step outside of that unnatural territory it just shows that, you know, it just shows you who you are.
Right.
So, yeah, it was. I mean, obviously, it was a bunch of nuggets. You know what I mean?
Right. No,
but we ain't got time for the show to go, to go all over them. But
no, I like that. Those were two good points. Especially, I'm gonna come back to that unnatural man, especially with the topic we're gonna get into in a little bit with depression and mental illness amongst our community. But that unnatural man, I remember that. Helped me not forget that when we get into it.
I got you.
But yeah, man, my weekend was great down in the Made in America Festival. Shout out to Tidal, Jay-Z, and all the performers down there, man. We're big supporters here of Tidal and Jay-Z. But the festival, second time going, this one was much more of an adventure than the first one, mainly because we drove up. Like, last year, I flew into Philly after dropping my son off in Florida. Yeah. I flew from Florida to Philly. Yeah, exactly. This year we drove up. So obviously, of course, I'm leaving with the lady or whatever. This is our thing. You know, we've been going the last couple of years, and we leave a little bit later than expected, obviously. But, you know, Fresh can handle that. He understands me. But it's also like monsoon, because I guess we're getting the remnants of a Harvey up along there. So like it's raining all the way up there. We gotta stop. We gotta get raincoats. Well, I already had my like full body rain suit just from the job or whatever, and walking cars in the rain, but we gotta stop and get boots for her and a raincoat and everything. So we get there a little bit later. But the experience though, being out there in the rain, seeing artists like J. Cole, I was really surprised by Sampha. And Jay-Z did his thing on Sunday. He actually had a performance where he started on the big stage, did his thing. He left on a Linkin Park tribute, and then like 15 minutes goes by, and I'm just like, yo, I know he didn't just end the show like that. Like, there's no way. Somehow or another, this dude gets to the stage like 1,000 feet behind you, because the way they have it set up, there's 5 different stages along that Benjamin Franklin Parkway, and they're all set up staggered or whatever. He's at the stage like 1,000 feet behind you, and somehow he gets over there and he just opens up, and then he brings out Meek Mill, and then he's high off the life and everything. So it's like his little encore presentation. But they definitely put on a great show this weekend. I love it. If you've never been, you'll have a great time. A lot of youngsters out there. So, and it's not really conducive for, you know, my back and a long amount of standing that goes on. But Solange, I think, was the best act that I saw this year. And I definitely,
word up.
So I'm not a Solange like fan, quote unquote. I've never really listened to her music. But her music is really good. I hear it all the time from a lady and everything. She's like, oh, you need to listen to her last CD, Seat at the Table, I think it is. She got out there. One, she can sing her behind off, first off. So she's very talented. She does a great job of separating herself from her sister and what she does. And then the artistry in her performance. Like, she breaks out into different dances in between songs. And so it was really culturally like nourishing, I guess. And, you know, all of that was just summed up in her. And then, like I said, Sampha kind of surprised me as well, because all of the music that I heard from him up until this point was really like slower tempo. You know, he has the beats and the drums and everything in the background, but it's almost like stuff that'll put you to sleep. But we get out there, man, and he's out there rocking and everything. So it was a great weekend, all in all.
You need to coin that term, culturally nourishing.
Yeah.
That was good. That was good.
Nice drop.
Merch coming with the fire.
Hey man, it's been a long weekend.
Good
man.
weekend.
Exactly. Exactly. But yeah, man, getting into the topic today, what we really want to hit on, man, is definitely depression within our community. Mental illness is what we're going to be focused on between this podcast.
Wait. No. Florida State lost this weekend.
Before we go any further,
Yeah, you can't be going into the sauce yet before we have a real
Brett, I'm
conversation.
gonna let you talk about depression, but Florida State lost this week.
Says the resident hurricane. You know what I'm saying? The hurricane.
That's how we gonna
by
push it
default.
in there though, because we know a lot of them Florida State fans are.
I mean, they lost it.
depressed.
I didn't watch the game because I wasn't there. I mean, I was at the concert, so I mean, I can't really say how much of a fight they put up or whatnot. I don't know when they lost their starting quarterback. And
They
he's a
did
dual
get
threat.
they did get till halftime. I think they lost him in the fourth quarter.
It was like
Yeah.
28-7, right?
Yeah.
yeah.
So
But
either
you-
way, Bama was gonna put them big boys on them and walk them up
You-
out of there. This
you
was
knew
in
Bama-
Tallahassee, right?
Bama was gonna do that. Nah, they played in where they played in Georgia.
They
right?
played in Georgia.
in Atlanta.
Yeah.
In Atlanta.
Wherever they played, I don't care.
Either way,
It
Florida
doesn't
State
matter.
lost. I don't know, man, but see, that's not such a good thing for us though, because yes, I feel like, and I've been saying this for the last 6 years. I know, whatever. We're gonna beat them this year. So we kind of needed them to beat Alabama, so they have that
higher ranking, right?
ranking when
Yeah.
they get around to us. But they're not gonna drop too much because they were number 3 at the time.
But you got a couple things in that equation. I was talking because Gina was asking about the whole ranking system this weekend. I was trying to explain it to her because she had no idea. They got a number. So
What?
and she told me she ain't watched none of the podcast, so she ain't never gonna see this. So I don't care. Anyway. So because he was like, so does all the other teams just show up to 25 and everybody else is just ranked up to infinity? I'm like, that's not really how it works, but
Sure.
you got conferences, let's go with that for now. But
Exactly.
anyway, but if Bama and Florida, you got number 1 and number 3 team playing each other, no matter what happened, Florida State would have to beat Bama and win out the entire season in order to catch that play back up. Bama could have lost to Florida State and still ended up in the top 1 or 2 position by the end of the season.
Oh yeah, by the end of the season, absolutely. However, when they put in when they get into the strength of schedule rankings and all of that other stuff, because they would have beaten Bama and we would have beaten them. Bama probably would have dropped to number 2. Florida State would have went to number 1, and it would have stayed there. But when we would have beat them, whenever we played them, I think it's like the end of this month, like 27th.
Yeah, we play them on the 16th.
16?
2 weeks.
Oh,
Yep.
so when we beat them, then we would have gotten that edge because I think we started we had 13 or 16.
18.
We were
Dropped to
18.
18. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Well, either way, so we moving on up over here.
And yeah, nobody wishes the injury on anybody, and me
absolutely
personally, I hate it because just like I think you were about to say, the fact that I hate having to, have a victory with that's tarnished, that has that asterisk next to it, where they're going to be able to say, well, our starting quarterback wasn't really there, and you guys just beat him because we had a freshman. I don't want all of that.
Meanwhile, we got a first-year quarterback as well.
Right.
So,
He's
anyway.
first year starting quarterback.
First year started,
Yeah.
That was his second game.
Yeah.
Well, Buddy's a redshirt freshman.
Right.
Hey, side note, Florida lost the ball too.
Yeah.
Yeah, but nobody cares about Florida like
Until you play them, they always come back. Listen, I never count out Florida. They're always in there somewhere, just poking their head around.
We played them like every 3 or 4 years.
Yeah,
or
like
something.
they took them off the schedule.
They took us off. They took us off.
off.
Yeah.
They
And then
don't
the
know.
rivalry with us
Well,
and Florida,
it's like
they ain't never been.
2019, 2020, they come back on.
They come back. Yeah.
Just saying.
But like we said, those
Florida's
Florida
not
and Florida
last
State
year, though.
fans.
They got tired. They got tired of that mascot getting beat up.
Shout out to Sebastian.
Sebastian. Y'all know what I love about Sebastian, man? And then we're going to get into the topic, man. But Sebastian, man, when he does that beak rip, that junk, for whatever reason, man, has me dying laughing and gets me like the hypest. When I first saw it.
Little known fact about Be Fresh, my was that my sophomore year?
You were the mascot?
Yes, it was your sophomore year.
I went and tried out, and like,
man.
yeah, they were so in love with me, yo. It was hilarious.
I could definitely see you doing it.
I only did it for a little bit though because they wasn't really paying you, and you had to like
And
do
that
it for
schedule
like
was crazy.
yeah, the schedule's crazy. You didn't really get no money, and then on top of that, it was like you had to do it for like almost a year before you could even get like hopefully get some type of scholarship money or something.
Yeah, and give you like stipends or whatever.
And they knew we would have gotten a lot more fights.
Yeah. I'm about to say that. We would have got a lot less TV time because they've been like, man, you can't be gyrating all up in front of they cheerleaders like that.
Like, take that.
All that pelvic thrusting. You cannot do all those pelvic thrusts.
But that was Miami, though.
Exactly.
That was Miami. That's the crib, man. You gotta love it. But yeah, man, we want to get into this topic centered around, depression and how it affects our community, mental illness and how it affects our community. Art brought it up last weekend, and I really appreciated that because, like, the light bulbs just kind of went off. And, it's crazy how, depression, it's a mood disorder. Clinically diagnosed, you gotta suffer from the symptoms for somewhat up to 2 weeks. However, within our community, man, I feel like we all enter that mode for a certain period of time in life for different reasons or what have you. But we also, or some of us, are able to deal with it a little bit better than others, and we able to find ourselves out of those situations. But I think what we really want to accomplish here today is building that starter block, that foundation, because what you won't have happen amongst our group, Black males, is this type of conversation and how we had to deal with our emotions or what we may turn through. And I've said it before, man, the best thing about this group here, the Beacon Squad, the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, whatever we decide to go by whenever we're out and about, is that we're always here as a supporting group for one another through whatever we have. And a lot of us, sometimes we may have that situation and we don't take advantage of it because of different things on how we were brought up, the way we were taught or what have you. But depression, it really affects us, man. It affects 17 million people in the U.S. I was on the APA, American Psychiatric Association website today. African Americans, 20% more likely to deal with the effects of depression. Also, 20 to 30% more likely to deal with it through self-medication. And that could be a variety of different things. It could be alcohol, it could be illicit drugs, whatever, to try to cope with it.
As Jay starts doing this.
You feel me?
So I had a random nose itch. You know what I mean? Bad time.
T.I. a.k.a. Sugar Booger.
But not only that, though,
AKA Bobby Brown.
but there also isn't a lot of research devoted just towards African American men. And a large reason behind that is probably because we don't seek that professional help.
Willingness to cooperate. Yep.
I think it's not just the seeking, but I think initially, as males, you were kind of pushed into, man, suck it up. Nobody wants to hear about that. Get together. This is what you got to do. If you're going to be a man, this is the way it is. Just suck it up. And we lose being able to, have a conversation about our feelings and understand that it's okay to talk about, what made you upset and get it out on the table so you can understand, a lot of times how insignificant it really is and that, life still goes on. But if you're always packing stuff into this box, eventually that box is swollen and it's going to explode open. And a lot of times people don't take the opportunity to speak with somebody or have somebody to speak with to be able to get, your emotions out and just, be able to talk through your feelings.
Yeah,
right.
You don't want to be. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
No, I was just saying you don't want to be. It's hard to be vulnerable. It's a scary thing when you open yourself up. You kind of you're exposed. People can see you for what you really are, which is human. But you don't really want to be seen as that, especially as a male. You don't want to be seen as that because when you show that human side of you, it's kind of like you. The
funny thing is, it's not hard. It's just learn that it's supposed to be kind of shy away.
Exactly.
Because the more that you do it, the more that you realize it allows you to be a lot more comfortable. It's just like being somebody who lies to your spouse. It's the comfort of if you always tell the truth, even just in life. You don't have to sit there second guessing and trying to remember what was a lie. I stacked on top of this and move this around. Like you have a different level of comfort and ability to live and not have additional stress. I think that most people's thought process needs to be around on how can I deflect, stress possibilities. And when you sit there and are built in these lies or built in the, I'm just shooting it away or I'm not feeling like talking about it, you put yourself back into that space.
And I feel like it's just something that's not ingrained in our community at all. And there are certain pressures that you feel as a black male, because what you always constantly hear is that the black female is the backbone of the black community. So then you feel that added pressure of, if something's wrong with you, because you already have that label of we're lazy, we're this, we're that, we don't provide for our families. You want to keep going because you want to put up that I'm strong,
Right.
provide, and you never end up being able to express what you're feeling, because one, who are you going to express it to?
Right.
You want to turn to your spouse, your partner, and be able to express it to them, but then you're fearful for what they're going to think of you now. Are they going to call you soft, or they're going to tell you to man up? You don't want to talk to your boys, because your boys will be like, man, you crazy, man. Here, come on, we got this white Henny, let's go.
Right.
So it's just a thing that we don't have an established if this then that. And that's not just for mental health, it's also for just physical health, whatever it may be. It's just something that's just not ingrained in us. And then you think about money. Oh, I'm going to have to pay this money or this copay, or maybe I don't even have insurance, and you don't know what your options are. So it's just something that we're just so uninformed that we don't know how to move forward.
You brought up several good points. Go ahead, Faison.
No, I mean, I just wanted to, I guess I don't want to take it off because you're about to go to a point, but my point would have pulled back Diddy's and Carol. So go ahead and throw yours, and I'll see if it connects back together.
Well, I was just gonna say, you made a lot of good points. One about the financial aspect of it, one about the social aspect of it, and a lot of what we do is what some of my research found is called psychosocial coping. And basically what it is like, we're in our heads, we get around our friends, and those coping mechanisms, like that bottle of white Hennessy, become how we deal with it. We suppress, or we just push past it, because like you said, it's almost, we put ourselves in a category of being weak when it comes to expressing any type of emotional distress. And then if you don't get that support that you want from your partner, and that was something that it took me a while to learn. Like like my partner, Chris, she begged for me to, be more emotionally vulnerable, open up, tell me how you feel, you know what I'm saying? And it just took forever for me to get to a spot where I could actually do that. But that's because it's a learned behavior. Like, I've never been given that example, when I was in my depressed state amongst my peers. The way we handled it was distractions. I need to get distracted. I need to get my mind off of it. Don't worry about it. That whatever, that toxic relationship that you were dealing with, or the fact that you just lost your job, all of these things that are feeding my my lowered sense of self-worth. We're like, we're going to get this bottle. We're going to go find something to take your attention off of it. And we just going to kind of go from there. Faison, you want to add to that?
Yeah, I mean, I just kind of rewinding it back to when that all started. So as kids, we don't get a chance to be just boys, like kind of Kara mentioned it, like you kind of grow up, and the first thing you do is you got to man up. And you say, you got to man up, you got to do this process. And that starts, way when you're a kid. Like, you go from being a newborn to a little man. You don't get, like, there's a big gap that was being lost that you get missing when you get a chance to be a little boy who's just growing up and being a boy and going through that process. And like, that's what I'm trying to do now with Namdi. It's just, when people come to me, they always say, hey, little man. I'm like, no, hey, little boy. Because he needs to understand how it is to be a little boy and grow up and just not have that pressure of being something bigger right now. And when time comes, he'll grow there. But a lot of us, if you didn't have dad at home, you have to become that little man because you had your mom there with you. And I'm one. Like, I had my dad there, he left, had my stepdad come in, and it was all there. But you still got to be the man of the house when dad's not there, or when stepdad, go out to work. So that changes everything. And I just want to make sure that if anyone's out there who has kids now, like, let them be children. Let them be little boys, let them be little girls. Don't force them and rush them on to the next step because they want to grow faster, or they aren't moving according to the internet's blog system saying you got to be doing this. Let them just be kids. And again, they'll grow into the ability to have not maybe grow into the role of depression because they've got the chance to enjoy themselves, to learn their emotions, and grow slowly.
So you hit on something that was key there, and I promise you, Brett, we're not going to get too far off topic because this could be something totally different. But you're right. Broken homes create that, because as a male child, I was 9 years old and I knew how to write the checks. to pay the bills for the month, right? I was sitting there ironing all my clothes already. And that's just a pressure situation that you get yourself into. And I was talking to somebody about this earlier today, where his mom isn't married at this point, and he's older. So he's, you know, our ages, with the exception of you, Jay. Right. But it's almost to a point now where his mom almost treats him like he's the husband, like he's married, but his mom puts so much pressure on him to still provide for her and be involved. And, you know, that's just something that's so common. So again, all those pressures that come in on you, and now look, you're married, Art, I'm married. We both came from single parent homes. We have responsibility to our wives. And at some point you have that battle between your mom and your wife. And that creates a whole nother set of stress. And it's, who do you go talk to about that? You can't talk to your wife about that, because that's going to kind of empower her on how she feels about your mom. You can't go talk to your mom because now your mom feels some type of way about your wife. It's one of those things where it's just like, okay, who do you talk to about that? And all these are things that you probably should go seek out some type of professional help, because you probably need to start talking about things all the way back from when you were growing up as a kid, and things that you missed out on, that you didn't get to do, things that you don't understand. To this day, I don't understand why my father was not there. Why wasn't he there? What was the issue? And these are things that my mom and I have never spoke about as what was the real issue? Why wasn't he there? And I know that somewhere in here, that's something that resonates with me still to this day. And then that now affects how I interact with my son.
Correct. That's
right?
huge.
Yep.
I mean, and it just keeps going. It's a cycle.
And it's the cycle. And that's exactly, it's the cycle. But that's exactly what we're trying to break here with the 13th floor, especially with this episode, man. We want to get out of that silo, get out of that cycle. And we want to be a living, breathing example of, hey, yes, we're a group of 6 men right now, but we're going to have this conversation centered around our bouts with depression in our lives. We're going to have this conversation centered around, you know, well, maybe not today with the wife and the mom thing, but we'll have that conversation just to show our listeners, our men out there, that this is here for you. You know what I'm saying? This is how we can handle these situations, so we can take better care of our bodies, because this depression thing, this anxiety stuff, this stress, all of that is all grouped into one thing, even though they're very separate and distinct illnesses. They wreak havoc. They wreak
your body inside out.
Earlier, somebody said you explode, but I think in most cases you implode. Implode.
You do.
And then you don't know how that affects your health and what that creates and what kind of environment that creates internally, which then leads to other health issues, which we're not going to get into right now, but it's all connected. You know, when you talk about hypertension, blood pressure, high blood pressure, all of that stuff is somehow related to what we go through.
And then you even go further than that, like after you basically implode into yourself, like a dark hole, if you will, then you start to suck others into that as well, your loved ones, when you don't even mean to, but others are affected. Your children, maybe your spouse, your parents, your siblings. So it's definitely the snowball effect.
Absolutely. So Jay, what was that word you used earlier? The unnatural man?
Yeah, the unnatural and the natural man.
Who's going to be the first one to jump off the ledge and be the unnatural man to share their experience today?
Oh, man, I have no problem doing that. Karen and Fresh knows this very well, but when I get into, let's say, a funk, it takes a long time to get there. I'm talking years of just, it's fine, don't worry, push away. I guess you could say, Carol will say suppress. I'll say not hold a grudge. Either way, it's being packaged and put into a box somewhere and just left. And then there's a point where it goes into, okay, well, I just need to detach. So I'll just go missing for days, a week. Not missing as in family. I'll still do my work. I'll still do what I do, but I'm just going through the motions. I'm here, but I'm not here. And it happens to me, and what happens to me probably a week and a half ago, and I've probably been distant. You probably haven't seen much from me in our chat or anything going forward. I just kind of listening but observing, and have no idea where it came from. I guess just the one thing must have sparked the last
trigger. It's a Gemini trait.
Just
I don't know, because I call it the Gemini, like just like two-facedness, and not to say that we're two-faced, but it would just be I just need to clock out for a little bit, like, and I'm not trying to, get in any arguments with anybody, but just right now I'm in a space of I need to separate and just kind of chill with myself. Definitely, Jim.
When you take that, go ahead.
No, I mean, and it wasn't just like family. Like this is I told my boss, and I was like, I'm tired of going out on a limb and doing these things, and for people who don't want to do anything with it. So it came really full circle when it took time to get there, but it was just like, I mean, I'm literally glad that I'm taking in 2 weeks, with the birth of AC. I'll get a month off. So luckily I have paternity leave. I have paternity leave coming up. So I'll get that month to totally recharge, just focus on baby and family. But it was at a point where I was like, should I start to look? Should I start to figure out something else I want to do? Because I can't keep putting in my all and not getting it back. That's what it seems like to me. It may not seem like from outside because I'm gonna always give the energy they need. But I'm just like, it's to the point where I'm giving more than people who actually own these businesses are giving back to me, and it doesn't make any sense.
Hey, like I always say, you're never gonna get it back until you the owner. It's always gonna be that way. You're always gonna reach that point when you realize, wait a minute, man, I'm over here busting my for this guy, and he's just sitting back counting bread, like. Yeah, whatever. I can find another one. Oh no, you can't. But you may think that you can, but no, you can't.
And see, here's the situation. I don't want to get off of sharing, but in a lot of cases, what has happened is whoever that boss is or whatever, they're going to a counselor, they're going to a therapist, and their way of dealing with their stress is that they just delegate it to you. I'm just gonna let Art worry about it. Art's gonna stay awake at night and think about it. I'm gonna sleep like a baby.
So side note, my boss is fine. It's the owners of the stores. My boss and I get along well. We are good to go. She's not on Facebook, but
she does tune into the podcast. How you doing, boss? I'll be back for my Jamba Juice. I need those vouchers.
That was hypothetical, boss.
Yeah. We know. My friend who has.
There's people definitely that.
But in your situation though, so when you actually were, you let it build up. Probably not the best way to handle it, and you recognize that, but when you were actually able to express that to your ownership or whomever you were able to express it to, how much of that weight was like lifted? Like how much better do you feel about that afterwards?
I don't know if I even still truly expressed it. I kind of I let some gas out of the tank, I guess. I kind of gave, I gave some. The tire was starting to inflate too much. It was 32 psi. I'm at the 40. I kind of bring it back down to 29, just enough I can still keep riding. So I gave a little bit to Kay, talked to my wife a little bit, and then I just literally walked and watched a movie and just put it all out, and then that's it. So is it all gone? No, it's still some in there, and I got to figure out how to release the remaining, but I can feel when the temperature's rising, and I just stop working completely. I'll watch YouTube. I'll literally procrastinate for the rest of the day, and then tomorrow it's back down to 29, and then I just start working again. So it's this the whole time. I mean, this you can see it on camera now. It's like this. So the whole time, and I haven't figured out how to get it down to the starting point of the ride. It's still going through the hills.
How about you, Fresh?
I would say my first bout of depression was probably right after college when
the day he almost broke my car window.
So me and well, I'm not I haven't had, I could probably tell you I maybe had 5 official girlfriends in my lifetime. And so in college, I had a girlfriend who I was with for 3 years. And, there was a lot of signs at the end when we were about to break up. First off, I think it really went downhill when I went out to St. Louis and we could not get along with her dad and his thought process on what type of summer jobs we should have in that situation. But that's a whole nother awesome story. We can definitely tell that one later. Anywho,
we've actually talked about that one.
We talked about that.
We did.
Oh,
Yeah.
awesome. Wonderful. But after the breakup, I was, nobody ever feels good after a breakup, but I was kind of okay, whatever. So as Carol was saying, we were driving in the car, and this is just broke up. So now I'm at the apartment we shared together by myself. Really ain't got nothing, because she pretty much owned all the furniture and stuff in there. So as we're driving to go get haircuts, I talking to a friend that worked at the University of Miami, and she brought up the fact that she saw my ex-girlfriend walking with her the homeboy who was, the questionable dude at the end of our relationship. That then all of a sudden she was like, yeah, and from what I heard, they together. So I'm just like, yo, we broke up like last week. Like, what do you mean they together? What are you talking about? So I'm like, let me go ahead and call and get it from the horse's mouth.
Oh boy.
Boom. Hey, how you doing? What's good? Nothing. Why you calling me? Nah, I was just, I'm driving in the car, I was talking to Angela on the phone, she was talking about how everybody was out at the thing yesterday at the event. Yeah, and I was just, wondering if, you were there with anybody, because she said that you was there with, what's his name? Oh, yes, I was. And they said that you go together. We do. Bitch, I went to like DEFCON 6, punching stuff in Carol's car. I probably went from a Jamaican Dime Dada all the way to like Nino Brown. Like I just went through every like hard person I could think of, called her every name in the book, blacked out. So I get to we get to the shop.
Then I had to be like, hey bro, I'm gonna need you to calm down.
Yo, I was fire hot salty.
More problems if you break my window.
Fire hot salty. So got there, I called my dad and tell him the situation, and he's pretty much just like what happened? What girl do? Like what you do? Hey, suck it up.
Typical response, right? Typical response.
Suck it
so
up, son.
I went ahead.
Go do some push-ups.
Exactly, pretty much. Sweat it
Get
out.
it off
What?
your chest.
Get it out of you now. You come on, you being sissified now. You get it out you.
There you go. That's
you gotta sweat that out. So after that, I went ahead and called and I apologized to her, but let her know still though that she wasn't much anything in my eyes. I apologized for so I know it makes the story so much worse. I left it like that. Click. But long story long, after that I definitely faced depression of just I didn't have just graduated, didn't have a job, a career, didn't know what was going on, was just about to start. Like I didn't know what I was about to do. And I'm sitting in this house. I remember all I had was a blow up mattress and a TV, and they didn't have cable, but I had the Simpsons like collection DVD, and I had
a gut.
Oh yeah, yes.
All them pieces in fifths of hen.
No. He was heavy and happy.
Yeah.
That's what happens though, man. I have a friend who went through the same situation. I mean, it seems it's crazy how a lot of that stuff stems from that relationship breakup and everything else. But similar situation, man. He fell into the.
But I don't want to go too far because we kind of skirting around like some of the issue, right? Some of the issue is that you've broken up, and some people it's divorce, and you end up with somebody else, but you now feel inferior. You feel
it's
like
self-reflection.
There is something wrong with me, and that's why this person.
That's what. Well, it's always, and especially my shock was the progression of the next move in the not as fresh as me. What you mean that you was dealing with this dude? Like, that's really, and then it just like Carol said, the self-reflect. What, just because of this? Yeah, who
Start looking
is
at
he better?
yourself.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And that's what happens. And then especially, like I said, I'm now in the house that we shared together, looking at these walls with the visions of, you know, her walking through the house.
Listen
But
to
now
Good
all
Carl
of a
Thomas.
sudden he's chasing her through the house. And it's like, so yeah.
man. All too familiar place. All too familiar place. But
Yeah, definitely.
you still here. Like, you here today.
What,
What did that
Man,
what
we're
is
still here. But here's the question, Fresh. Did you ever deal with those feelings?
right? What was that process like?
It's funny during that time being able to speak to my dad, being able to speak to friends, especially like my best friend Sammy, and talking it out and understanding some people are in your life for seasons and not getting caught up in losing what you learned about yourself and the experience that I had with her, and to get over thinking that it's supposed to be some type of, you know, lifelong journey, that it's okay that there are going to be people that are only in, you know, for that moment, absorb the lesson that you got from them, understand and take the gems in order to move forward, and being able to understand that, hey, as much as you think so, dude, you're not perfect. You know what I mean? And being okay with that and understanding that, you know, I have faults, but hey, I got good sides too. It's okay. This is life.
Right, and I think, I mean, it's two things I take from that, man. One is knowing your self-worth, man, and knowing that in that type of specific situation that, yeah, you may just not be the one for that person. But the other thing I got from that is, you know, you mentioned your father the first time you called him. And yeah, I can imagine my father reacting the same way. It's just a girl. We're young at the time. They know that the women that we're dealing with at the time aren't probably the women that we're going to be with for the rest of our life. But the second time, you know, you called him, he was there for that support system, man. I think that's what's most important, man, reaching out and finding those support partners in all of these situations.
Yeah, and look, I'll just roll right on after that. But so in my particular situation, it was when I went through divorce, and some of these guys can tell you, like, we were always together. We were always, as in us, the guys, the fellas. And then I was just totally isolated once I got out. Once I got married.
Out.
Yeah, once I got married, I was
my
totally
God.
isolated. And when everything was going on, well, I couldn't turn to them because, one, I was the first one in the crew to get married. So they couldn't lend any information, any advice to me at all. Two, the nature in which it happened was just so, I don't know, VH1, Lifetime story, if there's a Lifetime channel from the men's perspective.
He ain't lying.
And like, once I get to that point of what in the hell, yeah, you're not gonna see me for a while because anybody could be a casualty once I get past that point. And I was at that point, and that's when I relocated, which just so happened to come at the same time. So I'm in a place I've never been by myself. And I have an apartment that I pay rent at, but I don't own anything. I don't even have an air mattress. I had a sheet I used to put on the floor and sleep for almost a year. No TV, no nothing. All I had was a computer and music.
Like Ninja Warrior over here. A sheet
Yeah.
on the floor, and I slept like this.
You're not too far from the truth. But again, it's okay, you have your mother, but you know your mother's always going to be on your side, and she's not necessarily going to give you the steps, right? Plus, here's my mother is a multiple time divorcee, so she can't really relate. And of course, again, I'm her son. She's going to side with me. My dad, not my biological father, but my dad, who I might as well be my biological father. Yeah, he's giving me information and whatnot. But again, for anybody to fathom what had happened, I mean, there were so many you go back and you start reflecting, I let go of these people for you.
Right.
Not just talking about past relationships, but also I changed the nature of my involvement with my friends for you. And now you've totally disrupted my world. And there was just nobody. There was no Hennessy White. I was just on regular Hennessy. That was probably the only thing I had in the house. I didn't have any groceries, no nothing, but there was a bottle of Hennessy. And I wasn't to the point where I was an uncontrollable drunk, but that's how I went to sleep at night, because I developed insomnia. I had insomnia for a very long time when I just didn't sleep. I would come home.
That brain gets to ticking and going. But a total side note here, if you are in a relationship where your lady or your spouse wants to start isolating you from your friends and family, unless they are toxic to you, beating you up, or stealing from you, whatever, dishonest, blah, blah, blah. But if they are trying to isolate you from your friends and family instead of engaging and trying to be more a part of their life, that is a red flag.
Yeah, there's a sign there. So unfortunately, what happens is we get into situations knowing that we're damaged, and we get into it with other people. And there's no way that situation could ever be whole, because you have one person that's damaged, one person may be whole, but then you start to damage that other person. And unfortunately, the way that we deal with things, so in that time that I was gone, and you said hello to me, it was on. And it didn't matter if it was on for 2 hours, 2 days, just know that it was temporary and it wasn't going to last forever, because I wasn't willing to take that chance again. So my depression, and I know at this point it was depression, and I've never really opened up and spoke to any about it, because I'll be totally transparent, is look, I can't just go to a regular therapist or a non-minority therapist and they understand
truly
exactly where I'm coming from.
Yes.
Like you don't understand. Like I've got some things that by default, just by birth, that I have as issues. And then I have the stuff that since I've been born that I've created for myself. You can't relate from my point of view. There's no way you can talk me through that.
Period.
Right.
And then in today's world with medication, people want to put you on medication.
You're right.
It's like, look, I don't need a prescription for that. I told you I had a bottle of Hennessy at home. I just need to not overdose. Right. Yeah. But there's so many things out there that, people don't understand. And that's one of the beautiful things about this podcast, is that you now get to look into the mind of minority males, men of color, black men, whatever you want to term it. And we're talking about some things that nobody's ever heard us talk about before. Right. Like if you've listened to the 444 footnotes, you hear some of it in there. Right. There's a lot of what we're talking about, but to talk about it at this point and actually put ourselves out there, totally different.
Totally different, man. And I mean,
totally
that's
different.
Great, man. Really appreciate you. Go ahead.
Yeah, man. So I mean, I got mommy, daddy issues, divorce issues. I got so much stuff that work issues. As Faison said, you working harder than people that own the business. And you look at people that don't even work as hard and they get promoted and money,
praise,
and all types of things. It's just like, how does that work?
Right?
Like these people don't move results the way I move results.
Yeah.
So all of that is a factor. And look, if you bring that home, you already got issues at home. So you're just compounding issue upon issue. Right. And it's like, okay, you building something.
You're building a bomb.
Some people don't know how to deal with it. And they take some routes that you didn't know until it's too late.
Yeah.
Exactly, man. So, I mean, we shared a few of our experiences here. We definitely highlighted some great things, and we've also been human. We've seen some of the things that are detrimental, like the bottle, like the silo, like the isolation. And, we're not going to just leave it there. Like, that's why I say definitely make sure you tune in with us next week, so that we're going to put it all together, because we're going to have our licensed professional Renshawn Miller come on. He's a founder of the You Stress Inc., as well as Let's Talk About It Walk. All of these things. He's a big advocate for mental health amongst our group, the Black male community. He's also been one that has struggled with mental illness as well. He's a licensed professional now, holds a master's in the field. So he's going to be coming on to talk with us next week. But as we wrap it up, man, what we want you to understand throughout this conversation, some of the things we want you to understand is, I guess I should say, is that no two people are alike when it comes to how they're affected by depression. So there's not a one size fits all when it comes to how you deal with it. Each one of us put out different things on how we dealt with it. Some of them good, some of them bad, some of them in between. But the biggest thing that you can do is ask for help. Seek that clinical help, that professional help, if you feel you're in in a dire situation. But some of the other things you can do beyond just that clinical or professional help, things like being active, exercise, spend time with people, your loved ones, spend time with your family. The biggest thing that they say is, try not to isolate yourself. Don't sit in a room where it's just you and those four walls, because you'll drive yourself insane. And then
thoughts.
Right. And, don't expect everything to change overnight. You got to remember, and this is typically with any process, but, it took a little while for you to get to this state. So it's going to be a gradual improvement in your emotional stability. It's not going to happen immediately, but as long as you're putting that work in, you're seeking that professional help, you'll definitely see, the changes soon to come. We put it out there last week. We definitely want to offer that same assistance, man. As long as you continue to educate yourself on the effects of depression, you can always call for immediate assistance. That hotline number, 1-800-273-8255. They will definitely be there to listen to you, to hear you, to help you out. But we all definitely want to put that out there. Guys, I definitely want to thank you all for sharing, your stories and everything.
Shouts to Logic. He got a song about depression and suicide we talked about last week. Shout out.
We also going to try to get, we try to get a Kane on here whenever we can. We got a Purvis Taylor. We're going to try to get him on here next week as well.
Never nervous Purvis.
So, and he's got a great story as well. So you definitely want to tune in to part 2 of this conversation next week. And hey, look, start the conversation. If you're somebody out there that you're having difficulties, troubles, start the conversation. That is the key.
Yes, sir.
Also want to say real quick before you bounce, because a lot of us in situations, we have groups of friends, or we had that one friend that everybody seems to kind of go to, whatever. But don't forget, man, they got this stuff going on in their life too. So don't feel bad for checking on that person who's always being the backbone or shoulder and stuff for everybody else, because they got stuff too, and maybe they're just masking it to hide it from you guys too. Maybe that's their way of just putting it out there, not putting it out there and getting over and letting everybody else feel like they're being a part of everything. So check in with those people as well that are always there for everybody else. Make sure you keep them lifted up as well.
Awesome, man. So now we're gonna move it on over to Faison, man. Arts Corner. We looking for
Arts Corner.
Right?
Arts Corner.
Hey, Chris, you gotta work on that jingle, man.
Right? Yes.
Corner.
What do you got?
So this week's corner is a shout out to all the Northeast residents, and I'm not counting Virginia as Northeast because the weather differentiates. I'm sorry, but Labor Day is officially
it's still the South. So
there you go. So Labor Day officially means this is the beginning of the cold season. School starts, the trees change, a part of your soul leaves you. So my corner is that this is the point in time, and Labor Day is joyous, the last big barbecue officially. Yep. If it's still warm, you may get some more in there, but this is the official last big barbecue before winter is coming.
Winter is coming. Winter is coming.
My corner is preparation for winter. You start to bring up your coats. You start to go down in the basement and unpack all those things. Bring up the sweaters out the closet. Yeah, man. I already miss you, Summer. I appreciate you. You were a little stingy this year. A little stingy. You made us work this time. But I miss you, and hopefully you have a nice warm fall.
Dear Summer,
No, man. I thought it was. I thought
was
it was a
gonna hit
pretty
that.
good summer.
it was a horrible summer. From based on last year with the rain and the cold, it wasn't.
It was a lot.
But sure, in Maryland, you're good. Remember, you're about 10 degrees warmer.
Yeah.
Up here, it was cold.
But keeping in line with today's topic, please don't forget to check your vitamin D levels. That is actually a real thing. It does cause depression at this time of year in the north.
Yes.
And when it's overcast a lot, you don't go outside. A real thing. Check your vitamin D levels.
That was going to be my story. We'll save it for another time, but a real firsthand example of the seasonal depression and realizing how it's affected my life when I moved back home for that how long did I go back home? 4 years. So it is a real thing. Seasonal depression is a real thing. So as you start doing that, make sure you're talking to people because it will eat you inside out.
I'm telling you, man, that first leaf falls. That first brown leaf, you see it falls to the ground, you're just like,
Yeah, it's terrible, man. Moving from Miami to here and realizing it gets dark at 4:30. And the sun doesn't come out for
That's why we
months
don't
at a
go
time.
nowhere.
Yeah, seasonal depression. I'm right there with you, BJ. I'm right there with you. Moving right
Going
along.
nowhere.
The fresh one, man. Fresh jam of the week, baby. I'm happy because I'm surprised, man. What you got for me?
Ooh, left it a surprise. Nobody knows. You know, I was gonna go ahead in my tribute to Miami, even though I messed up our war chant. You know, I was gonna go ahead and be like, let me go ahead and take it back, get this Will Smith popping, you know, party in the city where the heat is on. But I went ahead and I'm going with some new flavor. It's still Miami though, because it's still that Spanish flavor. So I don't know if y'all can see that. But this is my man Noriega Uno Mas.
Wow.
Is it good? I saw it pop up.
How appropriate that, you know, Uno Mas means one more. And you know, that's what we're looking for is one more victory. Let's go, Canes. Keep this thing moving. Oh, y'all can hear that. All right, let's see.
That's so much.
I think what you're going through, baby. You don't know what it is in your eyes.
This is Nori
I
and who?
think you need a 180.
Wow.
The total opposite will be nice. Total opposite. Yeah. It's my duty to help you step back. Your worries long gone. Let go what you cannot take back. Take this moment and move on. I was once like you. Had me in my running shoes. Thought that nothing I can do, man, I had it wrong. There's something up in my eyes. Make myself a seem rise. And then told me that I need to do it.
A 20-year career, I hope you understand. I used to bitch on the block, I did it underhand. They said I'd never make it, never be much. And I agree with them, I ain't see such. So I celebrate life. Rock the shots, this with ice. Baby, we gon' drink more. At least one more, no need to take more.
I respect the fact that he only had to do like 4 bars.
Right.
Really, it's more like a Pharrell song. You know, but, you know, it's that summertime thing. Like Art said, you know, finding barbecues. Definitely a summertime fine event.
He has not changed. He's the same Nori as he was when he first said, what?
Like Uno Mas again on Tidal. As we said, we support Tidal, but Uno Mas by my man Nori, featuring Pharrell. It kind of feels more like Pharrell featuring Nori, but either way, it's still the fresh jam of the week. Y'all go check it out. Holla at your boy.
I'm gonna check that one out, man. I don't know. I might have to put me Gente a little bit above that one.
Yeah, I was like,
Mihente's a hard. I think too. Mihente came out at a good time though. I think if he would have pushed this up a little bit, that's a summertime record, just like Mihente was. And when you hear that Mihente, yes, we're not even going to get to that. But you see, I've been on my Spanish flavor, you know, because we are international love here. We take it all the way coast to coast, up, down, left, right, side to side. We're going to do some Swahili stuff next week. Holla at your boy.
Coach K, man, what you got for the people, baby?
The people, listen. That depression that we talked about is the real deal. Please understand that. Forget about cancer, forget about prostate, you know, just forget about all those illnesses that you hear about that kill us. The real deal is depression. And there are so many studies out there that say that depression is probably the number one killer compared to anything else, maybe even combined. And I once heard somebody say, I can't remember who it was, but they said, whatever you don't deal with as an adult, you leave to your children to deal with. Right. I said a version of that and I heard somebody else say it. And I just think, look, even if you don't have kids, it's like a ghost in your past that keeps coming and talking to you. And as you get older, you don't realize, why don't I have tolerance for the things going on around me? And that's because you keep making deposits in that cup, and eventually that cup overflows. It is not too late for you. There's nothing wrong with you putting up your hand and saying, I need help. Nobody's going to actually look at you and ostracize you or cast you out or label you as a lunatic or whatever it might be. Yeah, if you continue to wait too long, absolutely, people will give you some labels, but take control. Don't let whatever that thing is in the past, that skeleton in the closet, don't let that skeleton continue to beat you. Take control of it, whoop that skeleton, and get to your better life.
Control.
Take control.
Like
Excuse me. Before we get out of here, we want to remind you.
Who's that, Jay?
Yeah, I'm about to say T.I. Just you can see it just fly over his face. Like, I don't even know what he's doing. Is he just making this up all on his own? What is that?
Well, what were you saying, Britt? Don't let him cut you off like that.
I was gonna say,
don't let him cut you off.
You can get connected.
That's rude.
At the Flagology webpage. You can also get connected with us at the 13th Floor Facebook page.
Can't send them better let him have it, man. He better let him have it.
You see what I'm saying? Send them bad habits. Instagram. You can find us on SoundCloud, YouTube, Apple iTunes, Google Play, whatever podcast station you're listening to.
And when you're on iTunes, make sure you find out who sings Control. Leave it in the comments for T.I. to feel extremely foolish, because we cannot understand why he doesn't know yet another great moment in Black history.
But it's not just him, because the moderator doesn't know either, and that's why he's trying.
Hey, listen, Faison, where we at with the 13th Floor shirts, man? We still got those in production, so we can start giving these things away.
Wow.
Yeah.
Pressure.
look.
13th comment left today is going to be a recipient of one of those Mr. Faison 13th Floor shirts. And on the back, it's going to say who sings
And it doesn't count if you are one person that just like starts putting,
does 12 comments.
5, 7,
Yeah.
So we got what's the contest this week? So we got a 13th comment. We got, what song is this? Control. All right. Who sings that? That's what it is?
Control.
Yeah. Can we get a little? Yeah.
Never gonna stop.
I don't believe we're really doing this right now.
What it wants.
I don't really believe we're doing this right now.
We're absolutely doing it, man. It's the outtake.
You're gonna make me change the
No, you know what?
of the week.
I think we should change the who sang it to who produced it, which is even more important.
Making them do work.
It doesn't matter. Either way, they don't know.
Control.
Hey, Fresh,
They
you can
don't
start
know.
you can start the exit music whenever.
The exit music this week's gonna be.
Look, I see someone's eyes looking down like Control.
Arkansas State. Arkansas State.
There it is, ladies and gentlemen. We're down here on the 13th floor. But the Florida State is always the best. But the U is amazing.
Oh, baby.
Now, hey Jay, you can throw this in. What's the dog that used to play basketball? He used to do that. Oh yeah. Clippers do.